How many would you cook for?
I was cooking the officers and sergeants and the whole lot for 120 men, you know,
Okay. And then was that 3 times a day?
3 times a day, yeah. But most of the stuff was very basic because it's the rations you had to deal with. And it went to HQ and then they dished it out to different companies, you see. There's 1,000. I really don't know what a company is now, you know, got a long while ago.
Yeah.
But there was like D company, C company, A company, B company, you know. But each company was about, I don't know, probably 150 men, you know.
Okay.
Battalion would make over 1,000, you see.
Yeah.
And of course, all the food went to the battalion and they'd split it up into different companies.
Okay.
So you had to make do what rations they sent out. And it come out, they used to take these things in and go 40 miles to get this in the blazing sun, and they'd have a block of ice. And time it come to you, there no refrigerations, you know. Time it got the mutton it was floating around, and because you had a, this is where your training come in from Aldershot, you know. I'm talking about dissecting the bloody thing. It used to come in bloody mutton, you know, a whole sheep, you know. And you had to get it in the ice box, and one bit of ice you had left. You had no food, had no electric, you see.
Yeah.
In other words, because I was out, as I say, in the jungle there, you see. So all we had was, I don't know what they were, I don't know what it worked on, but I forget. You buy this, it's a long while ago, you see, but what I'm saying, at night time, all you had was either candles or, you know, and I don't know, well, you know that, if you're in a country on the equator, it gets dark at 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The nearer you are to the equator, there's no difference, you know, you get no twilight
Yeah.
like you get here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. On or off.
So it's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you either had candles or I think we had these kind of paraffin lamps. It's a long while ago, you see. But I know there's no electricity in this bloody place, you know. And then they used to go out on patrol, you see, because the idea was that Malaya in those days was controlled by the British.
Right.
And it came under the British Empire. So and when the war ended, they wanted the rights, and of course they was trying to kick the British out there, you see. And so this is what all the trouble was about. And I mean, there's about, I don't know, there's over 1,000 killed out there, young guys killed out there while I was out there, you know, fighting this so-called war. But it was mostly jungle, you know. They used to go out in the jungle and be in the swamps and all that, and when they come back, and they'd have these leeches, you know, stick to them, you know, sucking their blood. They didn't know the leeches were on them.
No.
And they used to burn them off with cigarettes.
Okay.
You know, because they'd be out in the swamp and all that, and when they come back, that's the only time I got a break when I was working in the camps, because but that's the only time they didn't moan about the food when they come back, because they used, whatever they was living out in the jungle out there or in the swamp, because I was only on basic, you know, dry stuff, and they had to cook it the best they could or heat it up, you know. But the Americans come out there after that, and they had good rations, you know. They was having chicken and all that. Well, our lot were never getting chicken or anything like stewed steak or something. It was all in cans and this powdered potato and all that rubbish, you know what I mean? So when they come back, after they've been out in the swamp and that, you know, for 2 or 3 days, it didn't get any moans about the cooking.
No, they were happy with it.
They was only too pleased to get back in camp, you see what I mean? When coming back in the swamp and all that, you know.
So Frank, take us to, you said 1952, and
Yeah, it was 1952 when I came out of the army.
and then you found your way onto the ships.
Well, that's when I got on the ships. It went out to Australia anyway. That was the first thing. Carried immigrants out to Australia.
Okay.
That's where they paid the £10 to go out to Australia
Got you.
Yeah.
Got
in
you.
them days. And it was carrying immigrants and mostly young guys going out there. And I just wondered, you had to stay 3 years out in Australia who had to pay the money back to the government here at that time. So they went out, they're young guys at that time, all in probably 18, 20s, you know. And coming back, they put paying passengers on it, or paying passengers as it was. So, but going out as immigrants, you see what I mean? So,
So how long did that journey take? Was that
in them days, it used to take, sail out of London, and from London docks, and 28 days it used to take, and it used to go through the Suez Canal in them days, and you'd stop in Gibraltar was the first stop, and then you go through to Malta, and then Port Said, you know, and then you go the other side of the Red Sea. I can't think of the name of all the places now. You went through the Red Sea and all that. And the Fremantle was the first place in Australia.
Okay.
Then you went to Melbourne, right along Sydney, and then over to Wellington.
okay? New
That's
Zealand.
when it turned round, and then it brought paying passengers back, such as it was.
Okay. So how many years did you do that? Was that
But I worked in 2 or 3 companies. I finished up on Cunard in the finish,
Okay.
you know, on the Queens and that when they were running, Queen Mary and the Queen Elizabeth.
okay?
So going in the army, I went on a different part altogether. I mean, I was working on the building till I went in the army. It's from 16 to 18, filling in, well, bomb damage just after the war, and they didn't put glass in. They put this window light in them days. Oh, you know, black part of it out.
Yeah.
Never had the glass put in till after the war ended, you see. So I just felting these windows up. So anyway, what I'm saying is, it was only the army that sent me on a different path of life.
Okay.
So from working on the building,
Yeah.
I never went back on the building trade anymore.
You must be very proud of what you've done, Frank. 'Cause
Well-
you've done a lot.
Well, I have, but I suppose so, but I was just lucky. I put it down to luck. Because young guys, you couldn't do it, you couldn't live the life that I've done today. Like, they couldn't do what I'd done, you know. Just after the war, there was plenty of jobs.
Okay.
You get my men after the bomb damage and everything. You could leave one job, get another job. You can't do that today. I realise that. With these youngsters, and you've got to have a pretty good education as well. But I mean, when I went in the army, there was guys worse than me going in the army, couldn't read and write, but they didn't sling them out. They sent through army caving course, you know, to get them to read and write a bit better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it didn't chuck them out because they couldn't read and write. But you wouldn't get in today if you couldn't read and write.
No.
You see, that's a different kettle of fish to what it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. You know,
So-
I mean, plenty of jobs around. It was a fortunate part after the war, the bomb damage, all the cities and that here. You see, plenty of work, and even right up to and when I come out of the army, well, I didn't. When I come out of the army, I got on ships, so I wasn't worried what was going on ashore. You know, and then I started. I was lucky, 10 years of travelling around the world, different countries.
And you said you're coming out of Southampton on
I come down to stuff and got Cunard
on the Queens.
on the Queen.
Yeah.
So I was on the Queen Mary, the old Queen Mary, it's in Long Beach now.
Yeah.
The old Queen Elizabeth got sunk in, they bought it as an education ship.
Yeah.
And it was going out somewhere, and something happened to it, going out.
But that was the one that you were on.
I'm talking about the old Queen Elizabeth. I'm talking about now. I'm talking about. But I was on both of them. And I was on the Coronia. I mean, if you look at, I'll show you the photos on the wall there. So part of my life has just been travelling really, and it was the army started me. I owe it to the army, to be honest with you, because that got me started travelling. You see,
Yeah.
I might had things been different. I might have come out of the army, gone back to a place called Epping,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they didn't want me to go back there, and luck went it the other way. As I say, I got on ships, so they got me travelling. So I put a lot of my stuff down to luck.
So of all the places you've travelled, where's your favourite?
I don't know. I lived out in the States for 10 years in California.
Okay.
I get a lot of Social Security working in over there in California when I paid into the system, you see, which you had to. But of course, I didn't pay into the pensioner, so it works out both ways. I wasn't paying into the pension of the 10 years I was over there, you see.
And what were you doing in California?
Well, I worked in Disneyland in California. So that was only a seasonal job. So then I got another job into hotels, and then I've done anything. But what got you into a lot of jobs, they liked the English accent.
Okay. Yeah.
They did in them days, I don't know about today. If you had an English accent, it went in your favour and got you in, you know. So I was on and off, and, you know, I don't know, I had various jobs, but I always knew something was going to turn up. But then again, I didn't have no family to worry about.
Yeah.
If I was out of work, I only had myself to worry about, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't have done that if I'd been a married man with kids, I know that.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking like this, but then again, you had to do it on your own back when you went to one of these countries because you didn't know anybody. So you know, so I've always been a lone ranger, as the saying goes.
Yeah.
You know,
but it,
I mean, I was going out when I got on the ships, and this other guy I met on ships, and we was going out to New Zealand. I'd been out there 2 or 3 times. I thought it was a great way of life, New Zealand, and only that time 3 million people
Yeah.
in the whole of the country in New Zealand, and it's about as big as this country, you know, New Zealand. And of course they're very English down in New Zealand. You know, that's the nearest you'll get to England. Anywhere in the world is New Zealand.
Really?
You know, forget Australia because we've got every nationality in Australia.
Yeah.
But in New Zealand, it's the nearest you'll get to England, outside of England.